if anyone out there ever has the pleasure of running into Fran at a festival or at a concert,
I hope this is what I look
this
like.
is what you.
I hope that's the energy
you-
that I give off.
You come running at you like this.
This is probably why I like taking photos of bands instead of DJs. Bands
Yes.
move more, and
It's a lot more to look at. It's an
Yeah,
actual.
yeah.
It's a performance. And
it's a visual performance
It's a visual
as well.
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just doing a little bit for mates that helps push them and help them do their own creative things. So you can't have a band without an image, and I get to help with that.
Well, seeing as we've pressed record, should we officially start there with a cheeky
So.
little cheers?
Cheers, mate.
Hello, Fran. Cheers, mate. Fran, how are we doing?
Brilliant. Beauty.
Beauty,
good.
beautiful. It's been a wee while since we've done a Sounds of the Local podcast. I think it's been probably about 6 months that
Oh
I've been
my
saying to you,
God.
oh, Fran, we'll get you on the podcast next week, and it'll be sweet.
That's all good.
Yeah, so sure enough, we're here now, and we're cracking into it. And yeah, I kind of I've had a handful of people hit me up asking to be on it, but coming back into it after a 6-month break of not doing podcasts, it had to be you first.
Thank you.
You've been on the top of my hit list for the longest amount of time, and I've got heaps of juicy things that I want to talk to you about, which I hope that you'll enjoy.
God, yeah. Yes,
yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Crack into it.
Yeah, it's a we're sort of facing the camera the wrong way here. We've got a really nice sunset happening in Old Mount Pleas. So it's a nice what day is it? Wednesday afternoon,
Wednesday.
and we're going to have some yarns.
Yes, please.
Alrighty. So I guess probably one of the first places that I like to start with these podcasts is just understanding like a little bit of the backstory about who you are and sort of how it is that you got to where you are now. Because I guess Fran, from the outside looking in, someone who doesn't know Fran as well as maybe me or anyone else would know. What is Fran? Like, what's the blurb on the back of a book that would describe who you are? And I think for someone looking on the outside and the photography and everything you do in the arts and music world is probably one of the more standout, more visible things that you do, but obviously it's not everything. So I think one of the main things that you're really well known for, your photography, is something that a lot of people would be quite interested to sort of hear your motivations as to why you do it, how you got into it, because now you're a super professional photographer. Like I don't know if you see
Exaggerated there.
judging from the way
No.
that like if you're someone looking at your photos and they don't know you and they don't know anything else about I don't know, we're still young, we live in this world where we're just hustling and doing all this stuff for fun, right? But if you look at your photos from the outside looking in, those are like top tier professional photography.
That's incredibly kind. I don't see myself as a professional photographer. I just do it because I love it.
Yeah.
Lots of other reasons. I do it because I really like the music scene. I love bands and I love the energy at a gig, but I can't play any instruments myself. I can play the camera though. It's a way of being part of something. Plus, if you're in a band, then I get to see so many. And if you're in one band, then you only play like sort of one type of music, and it's kind of restricted there. But for me, I get to do everything. Get to see everyone.
It's funny you say you put it that way, actually, because that's sort of the same way as how I got into everything
Bingo.
that I
Yeah.
do, is because I love the music and everything so much, but I'm not a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So one way of me getting into that world was through Sounds of the Local and making videos and recordings of different bits and bobs and things that we got up to, and that was sort of how that was my way of contributing and being a part of whatever the music scene is for people our age and within New Zealand. And so yeah, I feel like that we sit quite similarly.
I think so. Yeah. There's another wee motivation is to help a smaller band and lift them up in some way, whether that was through uni and like boys like the Radlers and I guess recently Lunar Intruder. Just doing a little bit for mates that helps push them and help them do their own creative things. So you can't have a band without an image, and I get to help with that. And it's cool.
You're a huge part of that. I recently we did a podcast episode with, well, not recently, like a few months ago. The last did one with Java, and after I've done like a bit of research on you, and I've pulled up a whole bunch of photos and things to show you in a little bit, but did the same thing with Jarves, and going through all the interactions and photos that she sent me over the years. I have, like, she literally has folders upon folders of all these different people and places and things. And you seeing, I asked you the other day for some photos for Ferg's Tora Bombora set, so I could use it for the thumbnail. And you're like, oh,
not just one folder.
Literally, it was just like you sent me your Google Drive folder, and it was I couldn't count how many bands and were in that thing, and then that's literally only just the Tora folder.
Yeah,
of all
that
the
was just Tora this year.
Yeah. So it's crazy. There's like a lot of people that you've helped and that you've touched or had some sort of impact on through your photography, and that can't be understated. Like, that's been hugely important for so many different people, and I know it's been massively important for us because just like as a recent example, like with the latest shirts that we did, your photography
good, it was fun,
took everything to the next level away. Like I don't know, there's something about really good photography that I don't know, it speaks a higher quality of the subject of what, if you have crap photography, it sort of, that sort of reflects on the quality of what you're taking the photos of, maybe in some ways. Like,
yes and no. I don't know. Like, you can do really cool stuff on your iPhone.
That's true.
You don't need to have a super big flash camera, nor do you need to have someone behind the lens who's been doing it for years. Like, you can have some little grommet on their phone, take a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you just like the photos that I take. Like, maybe with the Sons of the Local there, they turned out well. Hey, the lighting was amazing. Like, cool group of people, like friends, so it was really easy. But maybe you just like my style, so maybe someone else would look at that and go like, oh, too posy.
True.
I don't know.
I guess, like, yes, someone with any old grommet with their phone can, and given the right context or whatever it is they're taking a photo of, yes, they can capture the essence of that moment, and the stars might align and it might become a perfect photo. But there's still definitely something to be said about the craft of taking good photos in photography, and it's something that I kind of find quite tricky to put into words because I don't know, I feel like the consistency of the quality of your photos is quite a massive thing. It's not just, you clicked a button and you got lucky, which is a massive...
A lot. It'd be like thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
And you only see like 5. But there are 5,000 in the rubbish bin.
Do you ever like take many photos on your phone or anything like that? Or are you the kind of person who has your camera nearby quite often?
I have my little film camera. We point and shoot all of the time. But I know I don't really use my phone, and I can't really do Instagram stories very well. And I look at other people, and their like Instagram stories are amazing. Like, Kenzie's a good example. She does, like, I don't know, real sick stuff, and I don't know how to do that.
No, well, you do a whole bunch of that, but sort of just in your own way.
Yeah,
it's
different.
Yeah, it's quite different. I've got like a whole bunch of stuff here that we'll go through in a minute, but I guess it didn't, your photography had to start somewhere. You didn't just wake up one day, pick up a camera, and the photos that you're taking now are what you're, that's not what you're able to do. How did it all start?
Back in high school, so in year 12, I took photography because my sister was a really competent and amazing painter. I didn't want to compete with her, so I thought, like, fuck it, I'll do photography instead. And really enjoyed it in high school. Then in year 13, went back to painting. So I didn't like the whole folio board system. Went back to painting. Then in first year uni, I was pulled into, I subbed in for someone at a UCOM. It was like a cocktail night. My sister was on the exec, and the photographer got sick, and she said, "Oh, my little sister can do it." So I did it, and I took some really terrible photos, but I was quite proud of them at the time, and meticulously edited each one. And then I sent them off, and they turned them all black and white, and like upped the contrast up to like 1,000.
Oh shit!
I was gutted that my beautiful little wee photos, my first event ever, had just been butchered. But that's okay.
It's like classic when I remember a friend when Instagram was first becoming a thing, the advice was to crank all the settings up to
Yeah.
max. Crank
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
100% contrast, 100% saturation.
Absolutely, baby. All the way.
So it started within the club scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So I subbed in for someone,
Yeah.
and I felt so nervous at the time. It felt like everyone was staring at me with this big fancy camera.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Then did more and more club events through UCOM and INSOC and just, around the place. Started finding that I was taking more photos of the bands than I was the people. So, hello.
Uh-huh.
Got something here. And did a bit for TuneSock. This might have been in like 2016 or maybe 17 when TuneSock first started. I really, really enjoyed that. Then, started to get sick of doing balls and barbecues. Like fucking INSOC barbecues. Love them, hate them.
I've done a lot of, I can understand exactly what you're saying from a videographer's perspective. So, yeah.
And then started doing more for individual gigs. So it was mainly for friends' bands, and then that kind of snowballed. Then Louis asked me to do Tora, and I was blown away. That was the first year of Tora, and I was unbelievably excited. Also really nervous too. So it was, I don't know, in my head it was a really big deal, and in hindsight it was a big deal for me too.
It's a massive deal.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Then from Tora, I had a bit of like a festival on my CV, and the more gigs I shot, the sort of more confident you get, and then you get more ballsy and you ask for more festivals. And the following year, I did Nest Fest and Electric Ave and a bunch of little things. And this year, the whole summer lineup, it was stunning.
So getting into taking photos at these festivals and these things, these massive operations, was that you approaching the
Always. Yeah. Always.
So it's crazy. It's like ask and you shall receive, like if you,
all you have to do is ask, and
Yeah.
most of the time they say yes. That applies to so many situations. Just fucking ask.
For a long
nothing to
time
lose.
I always thought that you put these things sort of out into the world and you just wait to be shoulder tapped every time someone wants to get you involved with something, but actually sometimes you kind of have to sell yourself. You have to put your hand up.
Yeah.
And show that you're keen and show that you're wanting to be there. Which is like that was something that
We light bulb moment. Right?
Surprised me a little bit. It's like actually I want to be at these places and I want to be contributing. Why be shy about it?
I love it.
This progression was quite natural. You didn't suddenly just decide one day, I want to be a photographer. You were pushed into it. Your sister sort of put your hand up for you. I guess you did get the shoulder tap at
that UCOM thing.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to get into gigs for free. If I was working at the gig, then that was a way for me to like sneak on in there, weasel my way in.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you can walk straight in without organising at first. It's a little naughty, but just got a camera with you, head up, shoulders back, and just fucking like go through the door without paying for tickets.
That is I remember who it was someone in Cuba. It was someone in Cuba maybe like a year or 2 years ahead of me. And I remember being in the line at the foundry, at the old foundry, wait, how you had to queue up on that big ramp, and you'd sort of have to wait for 20 or 30 minutes.
And it would snake around the car park.
And it would do laps around itself. It was this huge line, and I remember one of the Cuba guys hopping in and being like, "Oh, can we get a photo with you guys? Can we get a photo with you guys?" So they like hopped sort of where we were. They were like, "Yeah," takes the photo.
Yeah.
And then the photographer pisses off and the rest of the people just stayed in line, and I was like, oh, wait a second, we just got duped here. Like, that was the first time I realized the magic of being able to walk anywhere near a music venue with a camera in your hand. It's as soon as you've got a big chunky camera in your hand, people take you seriously, eh?
Yeah. Sometimes I don't take myself very seriously though.
No, but that's the essence to it is not being too serious and not
for sure.
Yeah, and making sure that you
it.
enjoy it. And that the child inside you isn't screaming out in agony. I want to show you a couple of photos.
Yes, please.
If that's possible. Basically, what I've done here, I'm just going to switch on the computer and see hopefully this works okay. But basically what I've done is I've compiled a whole bunch of photos, just a whole bunch of random ones. I went through your Instagram and whatnot, just to get a bit of a sense of the progression of photography over the years and just understand everything that you've been up to. So I've picked a few random photos, and what I might just get you to do is to, as best as you can, explain what's going on in the photo, like what's the context of it and like what's happening. And
backstory
so there's some serious ones, there's some like quite funny, not so serious ones. There's
Excellent.
ones that show great composition and great photography and great all that, but then there's also other ones that are just debauchery and just right place, right time.
Good.
Click.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works. I'm just going to switch to this one. It does, yes. Okay, so first one. Oh, actually, we're missing. Let me just. Boop, there we go. There we are. Okay, so first one that we've got here is this one.
One-to-one festival. Yeah, that's Kenzie and her friend. I'm so bad with names.
Is that Kenzie?
Yeah, that's Kenzie.
Oh, what?
This was on the Saturday. I'd been running around. I'd come back to the campsite to collect my camera for like my shift. So at 1-to-1, I had a shift from 8 till 2, I think. And that was my whole sort of working at 1-to-1, and the rest I could just go party. I did take the camera around with me all the time though, but anyway. And this here was just like a wee home back to the tent, collect all my stuff and go back. And this was, I think they were posing for a photo. You can see her friend's got a wee film camera like next to her right hand there. Yeah. And they were like, the lighting was beautiful. I think they were taking their own photos. And I was like, fuck it, yes. And it was beautiful. Kenzie is a lovely, lovely friend and a very talented film photographer herself. So it was just lovely to get her. Yeah.
There's something that was really nice about that one. It's so warm, and it's like there's people literally sinking into the ground, like and just laughing their ass off. That's exactly how I remember 1-to-1 Fest was. I remember you giving me your camera for a little moment at 1-to-1.
I'm not surprised.
Is that something you do often, like hand off?
Unfortunately, just sort of pass it on to someone else.
Is that people asking for the cameras, or you being like, yeah, take this?
It's usually someone will say like, oh, can I take a photo of you? And usually it's, no thanks. But then they'll take the camera and they'll sort of have a wee turn. I like the idea of sharing your cool toys.
Cameras are precious toys though, man.
They are, but at the same time, they're only an object.
Yeah, actually that
insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's a great way of putting it. It's only an object. If you're scared of using it, and if you're scared of breaking it, then you're not really going to use it to its full extent. That was something Casey Neistat used to preach and taught me, and that's why my cameras are all bashed up. This one here.
Ooh, that's obviously not obviously for everyone. That is a mono. Yes. I don't know who that is. Do you?
I have no idea who this is. I just thought it was quite funny. I think this was during the mono that we played. And this is catching someone in the middle of running past the bouncers and jumping onto the stage. I just thought it looked so amazing with the dramatic light.
Yeah. I would have preferred that photo to I would have liked the light to have caught his eye or a mouth or just a bit more facial detail there. It's quite dark. And
got a little bit of nose.
A little bit of a little triangle of
nose.
It.
I like that it's just like I just love that you just caught this little in situ moment of this bro going for it to jump on stage.
I like the little dude underneath that guy's bum with his mouth open. Screaming. Yeah. That's good.
Classic.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes it's really all you're doing is observing the cool stuff that's happening in front of you. Sometimes when doing events, you can ask people to like put their hands up and shout or smile or like do this, do that. But most of the time, it's just watching. It's just a fly on the wall. Yeah. And I didn't ask this guy to get over the railing.
We'll move on to the next photo. This one here.
Yes. It's actually a painting on the wall in my flat at the moment. It's half done. So This is OPSOC. If you zoom in, you can see the little wee words on everyone's bums.
I don't know if I should be zooming into
a whole assortment here. So the little wee words spell OPSOC, and as part of initiation, for I think it spans like 3 years. I think it was like a timeline of 3 years. A couple of people got OPSOC, sort of second bug tattooed on their bum.
Yep.
As part of initiation. I don't know, you recognise a couple?
Yeah, I can recognise a few butts in there, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the sillier moments of OPSOC and the university years, but I think it was I the reason I pulled up this photo is that, you know, it's outrageous, it's ridiculous, but it was this club scene and this culture at Christchurch that I think, you know, is the reason that both you and I fell into the things that we fell into.
Absolutely.
So for you with the photography, that you're running these club events and being a part of these events, and you know, just
so much silly stuff and such a cool community.
Yeah. Willingness to try new things
and
not be bashed for it, and like, you know, being a little bit outrageous and a bit outside the box, and being celebrated for it. That's pretty cool. Like,
God, yeah.
It's interesting. I hear, obviously we're not at university anymore, so I wonder if the culture is still the same.
I think it is.
It is?
It's, I was talking to a lad who's on OPSOC this year, and the ticket sales still go out the gate for OPSOC.
Yeah?
Like, Cuba and NSOC are slowly tickling? slowly becoming less and less, but I think OPSOC's still going strong. That makes me really proud.
It was my favourite. That 1 year of being on OPSOC was just, that was classic. I wish I'd been there on the year together. I wish there was a little bit more overlap there for me. And
that's okay.
That's
I didn't actually take this one. Jake Potten did. This was at his flat.
Yeah, that's you on the end there. How could you be possibly taking this one as well as being?
Didn't know how to use the self-timer there, so I couldn't have.
Fair enough. The next photo. That's I was. Yep. Is that is this a?
So that's the photo, because this is what is this? This is Art Auction, which is one of the events at OPSOC. One of the coolest ones too. Why do students spend ridiculous amounts on art? This charity.
This.
Yeah.
This is why beer.
So that there was I was going to submit a piece, but I ran out of time because I'm a fucking idiot, and I only got the painting half finished. So instead, I printed out like 8 A4 colour pictures of that photo there, and stuck them on a piece of paper in like a IOU. So if you turned that photo around, there was a big IOU on the back.
That is classic.
And I never actually finished the painting, but some dude, Hamish Gray I think it was, he bought this he bought the painting
in the jacket.
It is, yeah. Big grin.
He
bought it on the hope that I'd finish it, but I haven't finished it yet.
It's all for charity in the end. That's all it is, really, is that this night is ridiculous. It's literally thousands of dollars being thrown around over various bits of art that
madness
that people have made. It's probably one of the more wholesome yet also rowdy uni events, which I was quite proud to be a part of, which is quite cool.
It's still going too.
On to the next photo. This one.
Oh, okay. That's at Flux.
Yeah.
Don't actually know who they are, but you've got the sounds of the local clouds in the background.
Yeah.
You've got people were reaching up and like pulling the clouds off. You can see that chick has got
so that
I don't know how she attached it.
That's
no idea.
Grace. So I just thought that was so funny. It started raining and everyone goes inside and starts pulling off bits of the clouds and wearing them, making hats and things in different ways. And
and I think it was Finn's birthday. No, it was
I think birthday. It was either Finn or Todd. I think it might have been Todd's. Todd Mayer's birthday.
So that would have been like 1 in the morning, or maybe like 12:30, close to 1.
Yeah.
And this was shot. This will be portrait 800 on a little wee tiny fish of a camera.
Yeah.
And this dude was in a like cloud jumper. It was
I didn't even notice that. I missed that.
That was half of the gold.
This
was like
is next level artistry. Yeah.
And the 3 people in the blue. I don't know. It all lines up nicely.
Yeah. I picked all these photos purely because they were ones that just caught my eye. Yeah. I was just like, yo, that's the one. On to the next photo.
Yeah. 2 months again, which is nice.
Yeah.
So we went down. This was this year, and we went down to Diamond Harbour It wasn't Diamond Harbour. No,
it was part of Diamond Harbour, but
past
one of
Corsair
the
Bay,
bays.
so Cass Bay.
Governor's
I think.
Bay?
Cass Bay?
Nah.
I don't know, some water close
One
to
of the
Littleton.
bays. One of the Littleton
And
bays.
I'd seen it might have been Vogue or some sort of like fashion shoot, and this lady had this giant big red, it's like a wedding dress veil, and it was just really beautiful, and it was really striking. It was bright red. So I went off to Spotlight, which was bad. You shouldn't shop a Spotlight. you should buy a material second hand. But I really wanted red, like the see-through. It's called Tully. I get this wrong every time.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I just went along with the ride for this one. This is
it's like tutu material.
yes.
And so that's see-through, and it's also red, but not quite as bright. Anywho, I wanted some people to experiment with, and I thought like these guys might as well use it for some sort of thing, which you haven't yet, but I haven't really forced you to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was really silly. So you've got quite formal white shirts underwater. It was silly.
I think I picked this photo in particular, and I remember taking these photos quite fondly because I feel like as a photographer we had a little bit of a yarn after we took these photos, and I asked, why did you want, how did you have this vision? Like, you sent us through this really abstract like graphic design photo that had that was part of the inspiration for this, and I think this photo is just one example out of many where you don't just necessarily take photos of things that are just already happening. You kind of try and push people in some sort of way to sort of be a little bit more expressive, or a little bit different, a little bit out there, whether that be only just like a tiny bit out the way, like or massively out the way,
like a specific trip
like this
into the ocean.
Wearing all white shirts, and
it
you
would
know,
have been cold, and it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I remember choosing this particular spot because I didn't think many people would be around, because I didn't want you boys to get embarrassed.
No.
So picked a nice
it takes a
quiet
lot
area.
to embarrass some of these boys.
Good point. Yeah. That was a cool one, and I'd like to do more of this weird stuff. This sort of planned, but this particular like photo wasn't planned. I was just asking them to move around, and I liked the way the water was streaming off, and we did quite a few different photos that were, some was really successful. It was cool. But the in-between moments, which you don't think about going into a wee shoot, are sometimes really beautiful. And
absolutely.
After watching like Seaspiracy, you can tie it in with some
I haven't actually
environmental
seen
campaign.
Seaspiracy,
Like, fuck, we've got a lot of rubbish in our ocean, and
Sort
what
it
can we
out.
do about that?
No, I'm with you.
Do more, do lots.
I think the overarching message of this photo is don't be afraid to push the boundaries a little bit, whether that be a lot or a little bit, and that's something that is quite unique about your photos and you as a photographer. Like, being a photographer isn't just a person who clicks a button, it's the person behind the camera and the personality behind that that creates a situation and a feeling and which influences the way that these photos and things turn out, and that's a big part of your personality.
Even editing and choosing like photo selection is huge as well. That's kind of a whole another topic there, but sometimes I'll send a folder off to a band or whoever, and my favourite photos are not their favourite photos, and sometimes they'll like post a couple of like kind of naff ones, like, oh, what? Why would you pick that one? Oh, this one's way better. Like, oh, do I want my name on this?
It's really interesting going through all your tagged photos on Instagram, because you can see the difference between your feed and your curation and selection of images versus what other people have picked are the best photos. It's interesting.
I wonder how much of it is what I think is beautiful and what someone else considers themselves. So if you take a photo of Bob and you think Bob looks stunning, nice lighting,
which he is
a stunning boy.
Hard rock.
But Bob might look at that and go, I'm all squinty, or I actually look pretty feral in this. And you don't know the subject's brain, like you're not
No,
you
no,
can't,
I totally get you.
You can't see
Yeah.
what they see.
It's like it's like sometimes, like even just right now,
Yeah,
like looking
yeah.
at a video of ourselves and seeing like the side of our heads and things like that, which you usually never see when
Correct. Yeah.
just seeing yourself in a
See
photo.
myself with a hat.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
yeah, it's weird, and it's like your interpretation of it is always different to what everyone else is see. Like everyone else has a different lens and different way.
And I wonder if their photo selection is a part of that.
Yeah,
Probably.
possibly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like I can't put it like what defines good photography, you know? Like can you define it? Like
I think so.
no,
It's all
you can't.
subjective.
You can't put it into words, eh? It's like one thing that could be so great about one photo can be something that is terrible in another, or I'm butchering this. I can't
different
even.
opinions for
yeah,
sure. It's
yeah.
Tricky.
It's tricky.
All
It's
right.
tricky, but necessary nonetheless. We need to be asking ourselves these questions. On to the next photo. Bang.
This is special. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Tora this year, and who have we got playing? This is probably Soaked Oats
Yes.
because the sky was phenomenal, and I raced back to the edge of the campsite and up the hill so I could try to get as much sunlight and big sunscape as possible. I don't have a really, really wide lens, so I wanted to go back as far as I could. And it was beautiful. It was magic.
Ripping sunset, eh?
And amazing tunes too. I love the Soaked Oats boys and have been sort of shooting them for, sounds weird even saying shooting, that's bad. Taking photos of them since they started playing at Tune Sock Cozy Night Out.
Yeah.
It was called Brekkie for Dinner originally.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah,
Brekkie
was
for dinner.
Do we have one of those photos in there?
I don't because
With the
that.
big corn?
No, but the corn on the floor. I remember they had the corn board. Yeah.
That was magic.
Because that was a shambles as well, eh?
So I think Soaked Oats would have been on that sort of lineup
I
thing.
think so. I remember they played at one of the OpSoc balls as well. The
year that you did a video for them.
Yeah.
And Louis opened for them.
Yes,
didn't he?
yes. The Martinborough Gardening Duo cracked the opening slot. Yeah.
I remember when I was on the exec, so I think that was 2 years after that ball, I messaged the Oats boys and asked them hey, would you want to come back and and play our ball for us again?
Yeah.
And they said, no thanks. We've passed uni balls.
Right.
Fair enough too.
Fair
It
enough.
was pretty loose.
Hey, we've all done our university stint in one way or another.
This was also a wee moment for myself too. It was lovely to scoot up the back just by myself and have a wee moment.
That's the stage all the way down there for
Magic.
perspective.
Yeah.
You tend to do that quite a lot at gigs. Is this because you don't have a wide lens? You have to gas it all the way back up the back. And
Yes
then
and no. And also,
taking a moment.
yeah. At festivals, you mean, or just
in
gigs
general. Yeah. Because you're quite adventurous on the lens. You don't just hang around. You're kind of you're here, and then you're over there, and then you're over there.
I feel like you've got to work. If you've got an obligation to do the best you can, you might as well go in as many spots as you can because then you've got the biggest variety of photos. And by running, you feel like you're working.
Gassing it.
Yeah, go time.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one.
Okay. So I did take this, but I guess this isn't the point, is it?
Yeah. Oh, our doorbell's just ringing. Who's ringing our doorbell?
So this was Nestfest this year.
Yeah.
And this is the band Samwave, a round of painting of Samwave. And this was a really, really special wee moment, I guess. So over lockdown, I wanted to do a giant painting, and I wanted to do, there were no gigs over lockdown, and I had so many photos that were just loitering around in this big blob of a hard drive, and I wanted to do more. So I decided to paint a big drop sheet, and this is a photo that I took of Samwave's closing set at Nestfest the previous year. And I think this was one of their first, if not the first, live gig they'd played.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a chance for Harry and Sarah to put him on. And he did a phenomenal job. And it was such a special special set.
I've heard that yarn as well. That it was.
It might not have been his first live gig, but it was definitely his biggest to date. And
close just like that.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah.
It was spectacular.
Mm.
And so this was this big giant drop sheet that I did in the garage during lockdown.
Yeah.
And finished it like 2 days before Nest Fest. I did big nights to get it done. And roped in my sister, which was nice of her. And
bring it back into it.
Yeah. What did I do it for? I wanted to be part of this cool festival, and I thought adding a painting was one cool way to do it. I didn't tell the boys until the day, and so this was a surprise
so you
for them.
surprised them with this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I think it was the day before. I sent them a photo of like, hey, just look out for this massive painting of you. And they loved it. At the end of the night, I forgot about it. Went to like an after party after Nest Fest and grand old time. I thought, shit, the painting's still out there. It's still outside. And I like looked on the weather forecast. It was going to rain. I thought, oh no! So I boosted it back to the Black Barn wineries and like snuck in and unpicked the staples and rolled it up and hefted it out like a wee robber. And took it to the party that Sam was at. And he was, I remember I sort of rolled it up in my arms. It was quite a big bundle. It's a bulky thing. And I dropped to my knees and handed over his big painting. He took it under his arm and trotted around the party with this massive big painting underneath
there
his
really
arm.
is no shortcut for you, Fran? Like you really go hard or you go home. There's no
this
like,
was a special
middle
one.
ground.
Yeah, I'd love to do more of this type of thing. It's so satisfying giving someone something that is really special. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
love it.
You do quite a lot of that. You are quite generous, and you.
Feed off the thank you. If someone says thank you, I'll melt. Tops me off like a petrol tank.
I think I've only just got. Oh, actually, we've got heaps of photos here.
All good.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right, should we start honing through them because we've got so many.
Yeah, fair enough.
You are a photographer at the end of the day, so naturally there are a lot of photos. This one. What on earth is this?
Okay, so this is Taylor and a bunch of mates on top of Elisa's car. Thank you, Elisa, letting me borrow your car. And this was coming home from a gig. I'd been shooting the gig, so I was sober, and I filled up the car with lads to drive them home.
Yeah.
And one of the boys was saying like, "Oi, Fran, like do some skids and do some like donuts and stuff." And I don't know how to do that. And one of them piped up and said, "Just take us through the car wash." So I did, and it was fucking funny. It was so good.
So is this a picture of the boys
on top of the car, midway through the car wash?
Oh my god!
And taken on a wee like film camera. And it was epic. It was so funny.
I can't even tell like what parts of the body these are.
So that's his cheek and his nostril there, and there's his chest and like armpit. It was so good.
I thought
just
that was
antics.
I thought that was classic. I think I saw these boys. I think you dropped these boys off at Liam's, and we were at Liam's.
Yeah, that's right.
These boys rocked in with next to no
wet.
clothes on, but their shoes still on. I'm like, what is going on?
Big
here?
grins, huh?
Classic.
This one was a tour de rinse in Silly Buggers. This was epic. This was just right place, right time. On the wee like film camera again. Mm-hmm. So it's a uni event that the UC Bike runs each year, and it's like a flat crawl but on bikes. Yeah. And sometimes they set up like jumps and bits and bobs. People were cycling off roofs and landing them too. This guy is Zach Porter, and this amazing timing. Like I did so well. This was it's not really me.
He's landing in the bush here, is he?
He did fall off. Yeah, slap.
But he's not just in the air, he's actually in the bush.
Yeah, so this was a wee ramp that he had jumped off, and he's landing in the bush.
Nice. That is classic.
Amazing timing.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, such a silly event.
I love that. This one.
Ooh, this one was at Flux. So I think we've got Finn in the back. Don't know who's on the decks there.
So that's Todd. I think that's whose birthday was in the previous one.
This one was because I turned my settings on the camera accidentally. The one that clicked dial over, and it was a really slow shutter speed. And I got a photo of the really beautiful hazy, like purplish blue. They look like the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
And I thought like, wow, that's so cool. This was when editing them. And I thought, I wonder if I can overlay that on Photoshop and put like a crisp photo underneath it, and then have a little fiddle around. And it worked. And from there, I've been trying to do that a little bit more often. Just playing around with a really slow shutter, getting more messy. Perhaps that's a better way of putting it. I'd like to get a lot more messy and not perfect. I've done so many crisp, nice, cool action photos. Time to get a little bit more raucous.
Oh, I like it. I think this one is quite cool. It's kind of like there's just electricity in the air, which is largely what it feels like when you're at a pumping gig at Flint.
Oh yeah. That was also turned into a cover. It was Graceful by Lunar Intruder. So this was their like single cover, which was nice. I did make it more purple. Yeah, I did edit it and fiddle around. Oh, wow. But it was nice to see it used for something. So if you like look up on Spotify, Graceful.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Lunar Intruder, baby.
This one.
Right. This is Tora's second year. This was Jetstar.
Jetstar.
We were staying at our good friend Rachel's flat here. And we were all planning on flying out. I think it was all the same flight, or it might have been very similar flights.
Yeah.
The day after Tora, and I was going to be flying up to Auckland to see the growlers that I was so excited about. But because of fog in Wellington, no one could fly out. So we all collected at Rachel's flat. And while we were there, so we had to stay for like a day, maybe even 2 days. I think I stayed 2 or even 3. Milk it. As well.
It was an awesome flat with an amazing view.
Incredible view. Yeah. Wellington. And while we were there, you guys decided to do a wee like pop-up set, make the most of it. You had some sick equipment because you just played at Tora. And this was in the morning. We've got a couple of coffee cups thrown around the place.
Yeah.
And this is behind the scenes. Friends watching, Ferg on the decks, and you've got you, I think, hunched over a camera there.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I very fond memory of this.
I see every time I see these photos, it just takes me back to that weekend, and that being just possibly one of the best weekends of my life. You know, like that year of tour, and then that Sunday, everyone about to trudge home, but all of our flights being cancelled, and then being like, wow, what are we going to do? So we ended up sticking around and going to Shag Rock again after we'd just seen them on the Friday. We went and saw them again on the Sunday in Wellington.
So right, yeah.
And we were just all there together. I think, was this on the Sunday? Maybe this would have been on the Monday.
I think Monday.
And we woke up and we were quite dusty, slowly having a few coffees, and then we're like, should we do this? Like, yeah, let's do this. And like everyone, you know, we kind of all put our tools away, you included, you know, we put all away, all our tools and our cameras and everything. And like, no, let's get them out one more time.
Yeah, might as well.
And this was that. And
so worth it.
It was just quite cool. Like, I remember on the balcony having the planes literally fly past in the background. It was just, it was quite cool, quite special.
God, yeah.
This was the photo we were referring to.
Same name, Confusion. And this was this is one of the best bands to photograph. I'm not sure if they're still doing a thing. I haven't seen them around recently.
Yeah, I'm not very sure.
Just watch the space.
These guys were always
they are
a
incredible.
Standout favorite.
Amazing choreography, and I think that really adds to a show when the this is partly why I like taking photos of bands instead of DJs. Bands move more, and
it's a lot more to look at. It's an actual it's a performance.
It's a visual performance.
It's a visual
as well.
performance. Yeah.
And this is such a good example of that. He's on the like crowd banner, and he would do this a lot. He'd climb a lot of things.
Yeah. Pretty classic.
God, yeah. Again, fond memories. We've got lots of friends in the crowd. Java and Lauren there.
Bit of a rock star moment there.
Oh yeah. Stunning.
This one.
So this is Tora first year, and
Indeed.
Java created a magazine, Yo Vocal, and she asked me to give a couple of photos. Butchering this. She interviewed Louis, and I did some photos, and it was so exciting to see my work in print. Incredibly special.
This photo is quite special for me because I feel like for all three of you, so for you as a photographer, as Java as a curator for this magazine, and as Louis as a event organizer, this was all three of those. This was like this is a picture that sort of just celebrates all three of those coming together and actually pulling off something quite massive. You know, it's the graduation from just being it's just a slight graduation from the usual university circuit that we were involved with. This was sort of taking that little step further, that slightly bigger punt, and just celebrating that.
And the three of us were all doing the stuff we really, really enjoyed. Louis was making this festival and he loves to talk about it. He loves it as him. And Jarvi was so excited to pull these stories together and pull some artwork together and celebrate the people around her. And I loved being at the festival and I love what Jarvi was doing. Yeah, God, yeah. Beautiful little circle there.
Yeah, and you were the glue, you know, you and your photos are the glue that sort of brought those tales.
It's a big team effort.
Yeah, one of absolutely many. But, you know, would we, without these photos, the amazing first and second years of what happened at Tora would merely just be tales around a campfire. You know, having these photos and having... you know,
and I was still unbelievably stoked that I got asked to do it. That I was allowed to be there and take photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So proud.
Yeah, mate. Like it was pretty special, pretty awesome. It's quite tricky to do much justice to your photos by just picking out a handful. We were talking like a little while ago about this idea of maybe you doing some sort of exhibition or something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
I feel like they're like because for me I know the quantity and caliber of your photography because I've received so much of it, and I know that I'm only one of probably 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 different individuals or bands or groups or crews that you know that you've done this a shit ton of photography for. So it'd be quite cool. I wondered, like, do you have any plans for bringing this all together in one place? Like,
I really like the idea of a wee, like a room, ideally a flat, something really low key and casual, and bringing together some of the bands I've shot for, and bringing together some of the paintings I've done, some banners.
Yes, yeah.
I think that would be a really lovely little, I'm gonna say celebration. That's a little bit cocky. So.
No, but it's almost like a portfolio.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because you don't necessarily have like an online portfolio or like your Instagram kind of your website.
Yeah,
do you?
But it doesn't get updated very often.
Right.
And I think it's something really special, like bringing literal people, physical people together in the same room. I'm sure I could rope a band in to play some music.
I think that scrapes volumes of you as well. It's a portfolio, but in a completely different way. It'll
be to host a party. Yeah. And if you've got some art on the walls, that's nice.
Yeah. No,
I'd love to do that at some point.
Your contribution and your artistic contribution doesn't end at photography. It also manifests itself in massive, huge creative endeavors that are huge banners that you've done for people, and this being one of them. I remember
this was a really fun one.
Yeah,
God, this was like nice and clean and simple.
Mate, you literally, you rocked up on one afternoon, and you're like, "Oh, I got something for you."
Something.
Usually, like you know how I was saying before, you're super generous. You always usually rock up like with a handful of avocados or something. That's kind of your thing. I was expecting like, cheeky avocado or two. And you rocked up and rolled this out on the floor, and I couldn't believe it without saying, a single word of warning. You just rocked up and you're like, here's this huge, amazing thing I've done for you. I'm like, oh my goodness. What's the story here?
This was the material I used when I organised a ball, and I did this backdrop where I had like black material, then I made big strings of flowers. This was back in second year uni.
Crazy.
And so I had this material floating around, and I hauled a lot of stuff, and I was trying to get rid of some stuff, and did it in lockdown. And it started out with just the logo. Then I thought it would be cool to have some dancing people at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Camera probably
can't see. The camera can see it, but yeah,
there's like a wee crowd of.
It's kind of like a UFO
kids
sucking up, dancing people.
So it was supposed to be big stage lights onto the crowd, but it looked too much sort of alienish, so I added a couple of people being sucked up. So it's now the sounds of the local UFO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I had this
tiny one
in my room for a long time, and just transformed my room. It made it crazy. But I think we needed to bring it down here. This is kind of like our mixing studio room, and
suitable.
Yeah, I think it definitely fits the space here a little bit better. You were saying before how one of your big, hairy, audacious goals is to be a lot more involved with video, and you have done a lot of things with video, like all the Tune Sock sessions.
That was a bit of like a trying start.
Yeah.
It failed.
Oh, no.
I just didn't do anything. I got nervous and couldn't pump them out. Didn't want the world to see my hairy little videos. So I should jump back in.
There are a few out there that had seen the light of day, and I think you're being quite hard on yourself. I think that is the most amazing thing, to see someone having a crack at something, and it's a shame that the fear of people not liking it, or the fear of it not being perfect, can sometimes get in the way of putting something out into the world, which I feel like...
It's so true. It's so ridiculous though. Yeah. I love seeing other people with their cameras out, and it's really exciting. I would so willingly scoop someone up or help someone out, and like give them a bit of like a wee push if they needed to. But God, it's hard to do it for yourself. It's hard. It's really sort of exposing.
It's something that creative people definitely battle with quite a lot, is being afraid that this thing that you've created isn't good enough, and it's
huge,
and it might piss someone off, or it might, some people might think it's naff, whereas you sort of don't get anywhere unless you get started on the path and put it out into the world and just see what happens, because the first time you do something, it's never going to be perfect, is it? And it's like, you, in describing the Tune Sock sessions, obviously that is that makes you cringe a little bit, but
absolutely,
like I remember you got me involved in a couple of them, and 5 or 6 years later now we've linked up and done a similar version of that, but for Sounds of the Local and for the Rattlers, which when you think about it is cool. Really quite a long it's definitely inspired from that. Like, that's definitely one of the inspirations.
The Tune Sock sessions was inspired by someone called Sugi, who did Sunday sessions, which he was a dude in my sister's year, the nicest guy. He's just recently done a video for Marco Road. Yeah,
I see he does quite a lot of photography for like 616.
Yeah, amazing human who always can remember my name. He's amazing with names and faces. Beautiful dude. So that wasn't like my idea for doing Tune Sock sessions, was like a direct copy paste of this guy. Yeah. So it wasn't like an original idea, but I'm sure there were people doing acoustic videos before he was. I don't know.
Well, exactly. That's also a whole nother thing. Is
just taking bits from everyone else. Like Jack Hawk.
Yeah. Well, it's like the inspiration of it's the way that you've captured it might be quite similar to something that someone else has done, but the subject of what you're filming is actually completely different and has a completely different story and context behind it. So, it's a tricky one. It's all these things that you do is largely creative and can be quite difficult to define and and to have critical
especially
opinions.
Behind a microphone,
yeah, especially behind a microphone when you're put on the spot and trying to pick apart the deeper meaning of what photography and why we do it. And I think just the maybe like an overarching moral of this is everyone's still figuring it out, no matter how far along the line they are. Like
always learning, huh?
Yeah, someone who's there's got to be a younger version of Fran who's out there who sees Fran's photography, doesn't know Fran, has never met her before, and sees it and be like, man, she is just this ultimate epic, well put together photographer. Whereas from your perspective and your shoes, you're like, what's going on? I'm still learning. I still feel like a noob. So, I think that's the thing is learning how to be proud of yourself and that's tricky. Something I struggle with as well. Like no matter how much success you have, whether it be a small or a big success, you kind of always want more and you want to be better and you want the next thing to be better.
I think it's a really good skill too, to be able to look at something you've done and go, okay, like here, I could have done this different, and always trying to be better. It's a good skill, but at the same time, you can be so harsh on yourself.
there's one last folder of photos I want to go through here, and these are photos that I just thought were just classic, Fran. Like, these aren't necessarily photos that you've taken, but a lot of ones that you're in, a lot of photos that I had, and things like that. I just want to quickly blitz through them.
Okay. This was college house, and I had a big night the night before. This was the balcony, and I really liked the sun. Felt like a lizard on the balcony. Yeah. Shot by Ben Carolus. Lovely friend.
This one here, this is just like full kitted out, ammo, gun ready at the hip, having the meanest time, yurt party popping off in the background.
Oh, they were incredible.
If we ever
absolutely love them.
If anyone out there ever has the pleasure of running into Fran at a festival or at a concert, this is
what I look like.
This is what you.
I hope that's the energy that I give off.
You come running at you like this. Here's a crack at one. See, this is just an example of some of the avocados that you used to gift and give us.
I don't know where that started from. I back at the local a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Just every now and again I'd leave some avos, and you're not the only one who gets them. Minnie Simmons last weekend, I gave them a sack full of avos. You're
a giver, Fran. You're too selfless.
I like it.
What else we got here?
Ooh, that's a pose, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just classic you. I think I've got the action of it here. So it's just like boom, unhitch, bang, taking the photo.
I think this was L'Occurrence. Yeah. And my mum helped me make this leather belt that I could hook the cameras into because the strain on my neck was horrific.
Those lens. Look at the size of that lens. It's a bloody dumbbell.
Beautiful lens. Love it.
Another one here. It's just.
This is shooting for Yo Vocals. I got to wear their fire engine suit. I loved it.
Went well with the iconic Fran hat there as well. It was an absolute look. It seems to be a bit of a consistent theme. The like taking photos in these crazy wild positions. I feel like you're almost like a warrior behind the lens or something like that.
Yeah, I think it started from trying to be as silly as possible to make the person I'm taking the photos of also do something silly.
Yeah.
To react in a funny or surprised way.
Yeah.
I think it started from there, and I also thought a different angle would be fun, so I started doing this at uni parties ages ago.
Yeah. It's crazy. I feel like the stereotype of a photographer or a video person is usually someone who's quite nerdy and reserved. So it's good to see again that personality and that flair, and you're coming out when you've got a camera in hand.
This was mono, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was.
They're weird little mono straight after lockdown.
This was freshly after lockdown, and when you're only allowed 50 people in a room or something like that. So we did a live stream from inside the foundry, which roped you in to come and man one of the cameras. You can see that was before we had
cords on cords.
Yeah, you literally you've got it. You're strapped in. You've got it all wrapped up into your belt and things like that. Crazy. This one here. See, this
just recent.
This was at Discopolis. Yes, with Frank Booker.
Flux again.
Awesome, amazing night, and you were definitely the highlight of that night for so many different people. Come in as a full-sized disco ball.
That is a Kmart disco ball that I cut away to make it into a helmet.
Yeah.
That helmet's done its rounds.
Yeah, I've borrowed it.
Busy helmet.
I went to a dirty disco gig and thankfully got to borrow it. It's classic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Turns a lot of heads.
Human disco ball.
God, it's uncomfortable though. It doesn't matter.
It is, It squeezes your noggin. See, here we go. Here we've got the classic. I feel like I've got a couple of series of photos here, and they're photos that other people have took of you dancing. I feel like you have your I'm not mocking you. It's more just me butchering, trying to show the way that you dance. But you have this the
most extravagant as possible.
You're incredibly you're incredibly lively on the dance floor. You don't just sit there and wiggle like kind of someone like me would. You fucking get into it. And
I remember coming to uni, and my biggest fear was not knowing how to dance at a party.
Really?
And I remember asking my sister, how do people dance at parties?
Really? Crazy.
I don't know.
You learnt from the best.
Just get a little silly juice down here. Easy.
And just another classic one here. I feel like
tiny wee camera there. That's the wee point and shoot.
True.
And
this is you perched up. You're always sort
yeah.
of up on top of a table somewhere or
Yeah.
something like that. Doing.
It's actually quite a nice photo shot by Kenzie.
Yeah, true.
Beautiful.
Was that a bit of Dan in the foreground there?
Cheers a bit. Checking is fine, naughty boy. Okay. Could talk a lot about the Wee Minds magazine here.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can go fast. A dumb little photo shoot to promote the magazine that Dan headed in lockdown.
Yeah.
Which was a collection of film photos put into a little wee zine, and this was just a fun little photo shoot. I love those lamps. Those lamps have also done their rounds.
Yeah. I think your write up in the Minds magazine was probably my favourite part of the whole magazine.
Thank you.
So if anyone's got a Minds magazine out there, or I guess what we might have to do is take a photo of it or something and post it somewhere so people can read it. We've got one tucked away here.
It was
We've got
something
one on
really
the coffee
special to
table out
work
there.
on, and I'd love to do more of those little wee zines.
Yeah.
I'd love to do one for myself each year after
It's not a
the
bad
festival
idea.
season.
Yeah.
Just like a
tangible.
way of collecting things, and something about holding the photos. Same with holding the paintings too. It's really, really satisfying. That was cool. Hello.
Here's just some crazy ones about again, another left field idea. How about we paint different parts of the magazine?
Yeah.
Here's you painting one of the scenes on the toilet lid. Crazy.
That was fun. God, that was fun.
Did you actually give Tom? You gave someone this toilet seat?
Sadly, I didn't.
You didn't?
I wiped it off at the end of our tenancy.
Or was it the plate or something like that?
I gave someone the plate.
Yeah.
I don't know where this came. Oh, this was throughout uni when I was doing tickets. I'd often make. I'd try to promote an event in a different way than just Facebook or just posters.
Yeah.
Because I thought it communicated a bit more fun and a bit more liveliness if you made your tickets or did your branding slightly differently.
Yes.
And this was another way of promoting a magazine in a different way. So I thought, how cool would it be if it was on the mirror or if it was on the toilet seat? Just dumb, weird places.
Yeah. I massively appreciate that. I even if it's just something a little bit like something small, something a little bit different, but something that you're not expecting to see or not something you see every day, that that adds a second of joy into someone's life, and that makes a huge difference, especially with everything existing online nowadays. Like it's something that someone has gone out of their way to do to make a little bit different. I can massively appreciate and get a lot of enjoyment out of.
So much fun shooting the video for this too. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, pretty outrageous. I think, how many more have we got here? We've got a couple more.
It's a plate. Easy.
Here's you again in the classic position.
Yeah. Oh, first year tourer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think there's.
That's nice.
Here's you.
This was
you
a big
in the
sale.
avos.
This was like 20-cent avos, and I hauled them all in.
Yeah.
They went off in like 2 days.
Nice. But worth it for the photo.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Here's you working on the handwritten titles for each of the each of the articles within the Minds magazine. Again.
Just full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead. Massively out of your way.
My mum is a calligrapher, or used to be a calligrapher.
Oh, wow.
And I was quite conscious of the fact that my writing wasn't very consistent. So I do the names a lot to try and get them looking like type and trying to get them as clean as I possibly could.
Crazy.
Yeah. I remember feeling embarrassed showing my mum, like, oh, I did this thing that you're going to criticize a lot because it's not very good. But no one else knows that.
No.
Yeah, that was fun.
You're crazy,
Fran.
Fran. Again, that's the whole thing as well. Right? Your inner critic and being quite ready to feel like you've outdone it. Where underdone it. It's like fuck, we could go on like that forever. Eh?
Okay. Same.
Here's just I feel like one of the more iconic photos of you, Fran.
I think this was taken by Tom DeRoy.
This is like a combination of all the poses here of the crouch as well as being
Crouch,
elevated
pause,
up on
engage,
top of some table or something.
The beautiful background, happy as Larry.
Yeah.
The breeze, yeah.
Classic.
Stoked to be there. It was first year tour, just loving it.
Yeah. If there was going to be 10 photos within your lifetime that summarize your entire life, this has got to be one that features.
If you zoom in too, I think my glasses are all munched and I'm in like secondhand shoes and secondhand shirt. Same shit, baby.
Are you wearing that right now?
Yep.
Oh, let's go. That's awesome. I think I've just got one last one here, which is like a little bit out of place, but this was just from...
this is Nestfest
from
this year.
Nestfest, and this was just a video perspective. You were showing those photos of from Tora Bombora before and all the way up the back of the hill. This is kind of like the context of actually being at one of those gigs, looking over your shoulder, and sure enough, you see Fran all the way up in the hills, capturing some extremely
boss mode, trying to get as many different shots as I can. And if I stay just behind like the photographer's barrier or the pit, I would feel like I haven't tried hard enough. Go home at the end of the night, and sometimes I do think, oh, I was too lazy, then I should have worked harder. But if I run lots, then at least I can say, well, at least I was trying. At least I tried.
Yeah, you're a you go the extreme lengths, that's for sure, Fran. Like there's no half measures. I think if there's any moral of the story of this conversation from today is just understanding you go hard, you don't go home. Like
Thank you. I try.
which is quite cool. It makes me quite proud and quite excited to know you, and I feel like
and same here. You're going places too.
Oh well,
it's lovely to see you in the same circle. Like I'd like to. That goes back to like Javi and Louis. It's that same thing. It's just doing what you love and taking a punt out of it, and not being afraid to take a slightly bigger bite the next time, and a slightly bigger bite, and a slight you're not just swimming in circles. You're actually trying to improve and extend. Going in zigzags, slowly getting there.
Yeah.
I remember last year I was shooting like a corporate, like prize giving, and it was a job I found through a sort of a mate recommended me. It was like old people getting prizes from their like office jobs, and it was boring, and they didn't really want their photos taken, and I was hiding in the toilets because I was sick of it. And I was just trying to like wait out till like I could finally go. I should have made the most of it. I should have been really extroverted, but I just didn't feel like it on the night. And someone random started following me on Instagram, and she sent me a message, and she was like sort of 15 or so. She said like, wow, you like gig photography, it's beautiful, I really want to do what you do. I thought like, whoa. Wow. And it was so ironic. I was sitting in the toilet on a job that I didn't want to be at, and I'd tried to be as sort of real as possible, and I'm not a big dog at all. It was such a weird little moment that someone had found me, and it was ironic. It was that time too. Said like, hey, I am at a job that I do not want to be at.
Yes.
And this is like the in-betweens, and what you see on my portfolio or Instagram is not absolutely what it's all about. Of course not. And she had a good laugh, and I got to know her a wee bit. It was funny.
That's classic.
It's nice.
That's awesome. Like I've definitely hidden in the bathrooms a handful of times as well myself. It's a classic, right? I guess that's the thing. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of grit, and it's
sometimes
a lot of failure.
Sometimes you just don't want to be there, and sometimes you do a shit job. And
it happens. It's all part of it. You don't know till you try. You got to fail to learn, and you got to fail to get better. It's not necessarily a failure. It's just trying. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. It just carves out a better picture of what the things you do that you do like.
Always learning.
Sense. Always learning. All right. Well, we should probably put a pin in that. But can you give me some skin? Give me a massive high five. Thanks for coming and yarning to me
absolute pleasure.
For the evening. It's feels good to finally have sat down and done this.
Thank you for having me.
I guess we'll have to follow up with another podcast in the future.
I'd love to.
At some point.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably have to do quite a few of these in our lifetime. Actually, I think hopefully this will be a podcast that we look back on in many years and be like, man, remember when we were in our early 20s and this is what we're up to, and that's
so
what
serious
we're up to.
talking about
We're
Instagram.
so serious, and we were so uncertain of ourselves, and we were always So I think I'm excited to see what's ahead for you, and everything you've done and created that has reached me or touched me in a way, I thank you for, because
It's an absolute pleasure.
you know, that's just speaking for me. There's countless of other people who have got that same sort of thankfulness for you being in their lives and being able
It
to.
goes the other way too. Like, there's so many people who've asked me to do jobs or have let me done jobs, or let me be part of the little wee circle. And it's not just me. We're not just one person. We're a community. It's huge.
All right. Let's